Changing your camera angle and in-game settings are those minor changes that can really improve your enjoyment of the game, and in this video we're going to get you set up. You know the drill, team. Any questions or comments, throw them in the box below. I always respond to my subscribers, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Brabsy, your Coach Beard. Let's get straight into it. So then, team, you can either make these changes in-game or you can do them from the start menu. All we do is head to this little cog here, go into settings, and then customize controls. Quickly answer the question for those of you who ask in the past. I use the alternate button configuration just because I used to play Pro Evo back in the day and I've brought that across with me. Doesn't matter which one you use though, folks, use whatever you're comfortable with. If you are a career mode player, you might want to turn the competitive master switch off and turn all of these on. It just makes the game a little bit more enjoyable, gives you a little bit more help from the AI. However, if you are a ultimate team player, seasons player, or a pro clubs player, this will automatically be turned on and all of those will be turned off. So then, as always, no messing around. I'll quickly go through each one and only give context if it's relevant. Jockeying manual, defending tactical as standard. Through pass assistance, I leave that on semi just so I've got a little bit of context as to where the ball is going. Now, FIFA trainer, generally I have this as hidden. I'm happy to play without it. However, on this FIFA, occasionally you may find the passing starts to get a little naughty on occasions. When that does happen, for those of you that don't know, you can turn FIFA trainer on. Then in the pause menu, all it is a case of going to trainer and turn pass receiver indicator to on. This will essentially show you where the pass is about to go, so you can quickly cancel it if it looks like it's going astray, or you can change the trajectory. Timed finishing, if you don't use this, I would generally tell you to turn it on and to practice them because they can really come in clutch occasionally. However, if you have no appetite for using timed finishing, which is completely fine, I would just suggest to turn this off because I do sometimes see people hit some red time shots when they're mashing shoot a few times in goal mouth scrambles, and that can be pretty embarrassing. It can also waste a good opportunity. So generally, turn it on, learn how to time finish. I'll help you out with the tutorial, but if you don't use it at all, turn it off and then no mistakes can happen. Next, player switch indicator. This one's just preference, my friends. I turn this off because the less icons on my screen, the better for me, but you can turn it on if you find it useful. That's perfectly fine. Pass block assistance, may as well leave that on. Auto switching, air balls, loose balls, I don't change that at all. Move assistance, none. Clearance assistance, I have this changed to directional just so I can have a little bit of input as to where the clearance is going to head. However, if you would just rather the ball get kicked out wherever, then change it to classic and invariably it does just boot it out wherever. Now, player lock is an interesting one. Generally, I would tell you to turn this off just to avoid any accidental triggering of it, especially if you're like me and you've got really clumsy, strong, heavy thumbs. I can click in the analog sticks without meaning to, and then it becomes really awkward when the player lock activates when you're not expecting it to. Now, if you are one of these people who do use it in your game and you do enjoy using it, then absolutely leave it on. That's perfectly fine. Icon switching, I would say to leave on just for the rare circumstance where you do want to click in the analog stick and select a player you want to switch to. It's always handy to have that at your convenience. Right stick switching, now this is a new feature in FIFA 23, so you can either have it on classic where you just click the right analog stick in a direction and it will change to that player. However, adaptive means that is also the case where it will change to wherever you press it, but also if you long hold it, you can switch to someone further back. I personally find this very, very useful. If you're getting counter-attacked and you know Mbappe is making a forward run, you can long switch to your centre back and track that run. Really handy to have in the game. Right stick switching reference, this is a big one for me, folks. I always turn this to ball relative. It's set as player, relative as standard. However, for me, and I guess for a lot of people, you'll be using the ball as a center point on your screen. For example, wherever the camera moves, it's following the ball, and generally, wherever you're looking at the ball as a central reference point. Therefore, it makes sense for me, if I'm player switching, to use the ball as the central point to switch from. If you're in the position where you do find player switching a little bit inconsistent, I'd recommend changing it to ball relative and to see if that works any better for you. All these ones, I'm not going to waste your time, folks. I think just leave them on assisted. You may as well get a little bit of help on the odd occasion you get it. Lobs through pass I like to have on semi-assisted just so I can have a little bit of say as to the direction it's going into. Save assistance is kind of your preference. I have it on semi just because I like to click in the right analog stick and move my keeper manually if I think someone's going to shoot to the far post, etc. However, if you just want to not mess about with any of that, you can change it to assisted. That's absolutely fine. Analog sprint is a big one in my opinion. I would say to turn that feature off unless you're just an offline player like career mode for example and you want that immersion. So what this basically does is if you've got it turned on, it means how far you press the sprint trigger corresponds to how fast the player will sprint, which in online circumstances when there's server delay and button lag, I don't think you really want to add that dimension to your game. Generally, if you're pressing sprint, you want your player to sprint. If you let go of it, you want them to stop sprinting. So turning it off basically makes it as simple as that. Pass receiver lock, I leave as late. User vibration feedback is personal preference. I recommend anyone that plays Ultimate Team and FUT Champs to turn it off just because there's one less thing to take your distraction or sensitivity away. I think when your controller starts rumbling, it just gives you a sense of heightened stress and urgency, whereas if you turn it off, that's just one less thing for you to lose your concentration over. Trigger effect is another one I'm a little funny about. If you're on the new gen, it basically means when your players get tired, your sprint trigger gets harder to press down. Why on earth would you want that feature activated when you're playing online? I don't know. For those of you that like it, have it on by all means, but I just don't think it really brings any benefit to the competitive element of the game, so I suggest to turn that off. So those are the controller settings, team, and these really minor tweaks can just improve the overall gameplay for you. Now the camera angle is what can really change the way that you play and approach situations in the game. So let's get that set up. Right then, camera settings, and to change these ones, what we want to do is go across to game settings this time, and when this loads up, just click across to camera. So the camera setting I use and I recommend for everyone to use is the co-op camera angle, and what we're going to do is change this to a custom setting of 12 height and 6 zoom. Now there's a method behind this. The reason why I suggest this camera angle is if you consider a situation where you've just won the ball back in your half, for example, what you'd commonly have to do is quickly look at the radar and look downwards to see what passing options you have available to you. In that split second where you're looking down, that's where you can lose the ball or a pass becomes unavailable. Whereas this camera angle shows you a lot more of the pitch at a direct angle, meaning that you can play a pass and you can see everything that's happening on the field without having to check your radar half as much. All these split-second decisions can really help improve your game as you're playing. So if you imagine you've played the pass to a player and before they even receive it, you can see another pass on the pitch already developing, meaning you can play really quick tick-a-tacker, one-touch football without needing to check your radar. And that's all there is to it, folks. These minor changes can really make a big difference to your enjoyment of the game. Let's see if you can be one of the legends that gives this video a thumbs up, and enjoy your football. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.
To win at life, I never miss, that's fact. Taking big swings, put your hand to the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light.